First of all, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Uh, in today's session, what I attempt to do is to tell about your story, to go into the depths of what you're trying to build. It'd be great to understand your philosophy in terms of what problem statements you're going after in the market, what probably engaged you to go into entrepreneurship, right? I know you joined as an intern fresh out of college in my previous organization. We probably
Yeah.
had an overlap of just 4 to 5 months or 6 months of time together. I know you continued your journey at Capital Float for a few months, and then you took this bold decision to start up, and that's amazing. And I'm so proud of what you've achieved over the past 2.5 years on this entrepreneurship journey. So before we get into more questions, maybe a quick intro, and then we can get started.
First, thanks, Uttam, for having me on. Like, super honored to actually be here, right? So, people are watching, right? So, I mean, I know Uttam just told that we just had 4 months of overlap, but I wouldn't have had that job without Uttam. He actually put out a job application for a associate product manager, and I was a kid in my final year of college, right? And then I kept cold mailing him and pestering him for a month before he gave me a chance to at least intern for the product team as a product analyst. So yeah, your contribution, like your role in my life, has not been as significant as you made it out to
Is it, I think every day is significant. That's the way I sort of see it. But I'd be very keen to know, Gopi, how much have you learned in product management during your year at Capital Float? How did those learnings help you in making that decision to start up? Maybe a quick story around what really happened.
Yeah. So as you know, right? So I joined Capital Float right out of college, right? And that point in time, Capital Float was growing really quickly, and they had around 5 to 6 different product lines, right? And in the at the start, I was mainly working on product analytics and things like that, where
Yeah,
creating dashboards for different product teams and sort of working with multiple product managers to make sure everyone is seeing all the key metrics that was relevant for them. And then it what happened is, I think a couple of months after he left, um, Love was actually working on this product called unsecured business loans for micro SMEs, which
yeah,
was had a sub 5 lakh ticket size, right?
correct. Yeah,
And yeah, so that was the first product that I actually worked on, like right from ideation to actually even launching it. Like, but
nice.
Love left 6 months into it, and then I had to run that entire product for another 5 to 6 months, right?
Sure.
So I was quite literally thrown into the deep end by the folks at Capital Flow to run that product. Whether I did a good job or bad job is like, that's very subjective. I honestly, looking back, I don't think I did as much as I could have. But yeah, and yeah, so I stayed at Capital Float for a total of around 2 years, and then I
Sure.
left my job early March 2020. Yeah,
Oh, very
to
nice.
at least start something up. Yeah.
Nice. Gopi, when I reflect, when you joined us as an intern, you were
Mhm.
such a curious kid. And I think that goes a long way just to, not in any role beyond
Uh-huh.
product management, but in your life itself, right? And trying to go into the depths of why is a beautiful skill that very few people actually have. They, on the surface, building features out is probably the simplest thing to do, right? Why to build certain thing and what to build. I think that's what's probably gotten you into entrepreneurship so quickly, right? And I'm very curious to know how and what problem statements you're going after currently, and that
Mhm.
curiosity, where has it led you to?
Okay. To actually be honest, right? It was like, while we were quitting my job, right? And I have two other co-founders,
Yeah,
one who was an engineer at Capital Float, who was my classmate, right?
yeah.
So we did not think of it as entrepreneurship or, actually even starting a business. Like,
Hmm.
honestly, we didn't care about the business side of it, right?
Sure.
We just had that massive urge to actually build something that we wanted desperately, which
Hmm.
is to actually help us manage our money, right?
Sure.
And Capital Float had a sort of competing product called Walnut, and we were seeing internally how that was sort of stagnating in the sense that there were other priorities and all. So it was quite evident that nobody was actually going to build it out if we didn't
Yeah,
do it, right?
yeah.
And so yeah, so that is how we started building SaveMo. There's a completely different product from what you're
Sure.
building now. It's called SaveMo. There's a personal finance management app that tracked your expenses and
Mhm.
helped you manage your investments, right?
Sure.
We were essentially, so the problem statement then and now actually remains the same. The problem statement that they were actually, what we were trying to solve was, hey, there are 10,000 different stocks and mutual funds and now crypto, right?
Yeah.
And you just started, like we were like just out of college in our first jobs, and we did not have a lot of money, and we wanted to start investing,
Yeah.
and we couldn't actually figure out where to put their money because there are 20,000 different options, right?
Sure.
So that was a problem statement that we were facing. We thought that could be solved by using, some sort of algorithmic prediction sort of thing, like, hey, you're 20 years old and this is your income and this is your savings. This is
Mhm.
probably where you should be putting your money. And we thought that was the solution for the problem.
Sure. And do you have wealth advisors or wealth management professionals
Yeah, we
who?
had. We bought in a wealth advisor, registered investment advisor as our, angel investor in the
Nice.
beginning. Yeah,
Nice.
and actually even Tushar, who led data sciences at Capital
Mhm.
Float, was a
Yeah.
major investor.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Excellent.
but
Uh,
then yeah, so we'll just finish it off, right? So what happened is we launched it. We
mhm.
launched the product.
Sure.
We did see some traction, but the moment we started actually talking to users who were using the product, we understood that it wasn't working. Like, they were not trusting a mobile app to give them recommendations.
Sure.
What they instead did was they were taking a screenshot of this and showing it to their friend and saying, "Hey, should I
Mm.
invest here or not?"
Yeah.
And which is why we pivoted to building a social investment app.
Very interesting. Uh, so what is the transition from Save More to Flow Club be like? And
Uh,
I know you told me how it pivoted, but how much data did you have? What is the size of
not
the
not
patient
not
population?
not much data. Not much data. We just we were just 1.5 months into the launch,
Sure.
and we did not have a team at the time. It was just three of us co-founders.
Mm-hmm.
We just signed a term sheet for SaveMo,
Mm-hmm.
and we signed the term sheet on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And by Saturday, we decided that we were going to pivot completely out of that product.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, our investors, they chose to stick with us. Yeah, they've been great.
Great, great, awesome.
Yeah, we did not have any data. It was completely qualitative.
Sure.
Like,
And what's the journey on Flow sort of been so far?
yeah, we're called Club Folio now. Like, we were
Club.
so scared that we just used a placeholder name until we saw some traction. Right, so
Okay.
we saw some traction. We changed our name. So yeah.
Because I think I saw on LinkedIn it said Flow Club.
Yeah,
So
it's a slow club. That was like first random name we came up with. We
sure,
just
sure,
we just wanted to make sure the product actually had some traction before we named it.
sure, sure. Okay, so
Yeah,
what's Club Folio about? Can you quickly show us a demo of the product?
sure,
How much have you guys?
exactly right.
Yeah.
Sure. Uh, so yeah, so essentially the problem that you're trying to solve is this, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the way all major investment apps in India are built, they're sort of built like Amazon or Flipkart, right?
Sure.
So when you go to Amazon, you don't browse the home screen and figure out what you want to buy.
Sure.
You know what you want to buy, you go to the search bar, you type it in, you find it, you click buy. That's it, right?
Sure.
And that is exactly how these investments app work. Like, they don't enable discovery of investment ideas or any financial product, right?
Yeah.
But the issue is, unlike shopping, this does not work for more than 90% of, and for all the 90% of the investor base in India, right? They don't have investment ideas. They need help figuring out where to put their money, right?
True.
And one solution for this could obviously be, investment advisors.
Yeah.
But the issue is, there are only 1,300 investment advisors in the country. Like,
Oh,
that's it.
really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's like one investment advisor per million people, right?
Mm.
So they charge a bomb, and
Yeah.
people can't definitely afford that.
Yeah.
So what they left with is, cobbling, stuff throughout Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, maybe
Mm.
even scammy Telegram groups where
Yeah.
they get stock tips and all of that. That's
Correct.
what they're resorting to. So
Mm.
we wanted to actually build a discovery layer for investment and personal finance in the long run,
Mm-hmm.
using the social graph as a trust and discovery mechanism. Right?
Got it.
So
Understood.
the easiest way to summarize it would be to call it Instagram for stocks, right? You discover new D2C products on
Mm.
Instagram and then you go shop that. Same thing.
So do you, so let's say if I'm a customer, I search for, let's say, Tata Motors on this. Do
Yeah.
you,
Let me show you the product, right?
oh,
That,
great.
that
Yeah,
Yeah, let me share my
love to see it.
screen. Yeah, all right. You can see the screen, right? Yes.
Wait, let me just make this the pin. Yeah, go on.
Yes. All right. So this is what the homepage looks like. So I see my portfolio, which is 1,500 rupees right now, right? And now I see stories, just like Instagram, from my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So now I see there's a story from John, right? I click it and I see he just bought Vodafone idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are again obviously multiple stories. And what you're
Mm.
trying to do, and again on the homepage there are leaderboards with my friends,
Sure.
and then there's a group called Flow Degenerates, right? And
Mm.
so there's a separate leader for that group. So what we're trying to do, and then there's this whole community section on the app. So
Sure.
this part of the app is basically you connecting with people that you know, that your friends or your
Sure.
colleagues that you discuss investments with,
Yeah.
and maybe some influencers also. Like we've got a bunch of great prolific investors on that. You can follow them also for their investment ideas.
Nice.
That's how this part works. This is a complete community in itself, sort of like Reddit slash Quora for stocks,
Mm-hmm.
where people come and ask different questions, right? People ask about
Got it.
US stocks, people
Yeah.
ask about mutual funds, things like that.
Yeah.
So by enabling these sort of different networks on the app,
Mm-hmm.
and then essentially sort of building trust signals explicitly into it, right?
Sure.
For example, right? Let me go to a profile here. Uh, Let me go to Gokul. Gokul's my co-founder, right?
Mm.
Let me go to his profile. So on his profile, I see his followers and following, which is like a normal statistic. And on top of that, I also see his investment ideas. Right? These are investment ideas that he has created. And I also get to see his investments. Like I don't see the rupee amount, but I
Right.
see
Have
the
you?
name of the stock, right? And I
Sure.
also see the returns that they've made. So,
Mm.
and all of this is verified data coming directly from their broker, like Zerodha or Grow, right?
Sure.
So what this enables is a trust layer so that you don't get scammed. So the major issue with
Mm.
products like Twitter
Mm.
and Instagram, that there are a bunch of scamsters running stock
Mm.
tip scams. So
Correct.
now if somebody tells you something, you can actually go to their profile, figure out if they're legit or not, and
Sure.
then come to a conclusion on what to actually do.
Sure. Understood.
Yeah, I stop sharing my screen. All right.
That's pretty interesting. Actually, I've gotten much more deeper into like stock market investing, understanding
Okay.
charts and fundamentals and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, do
Okay.
you have plans also to expand into showing some insights as to fundamentally why that's a good investment, or technically what levels should one?
Yes. Okay. So let me sort of visualize it to you, right? So imagine there's an axis, right? Like
Mhm.
the y-axis probably.
Yeah.
So okay, there are three types of audiences, right? One
Sure.
is your day traders,
Yeah.
people who day trade for a living.
Yeah.
Second is your full-time investors who make investments for a living, right? They research on stocks and make investments based on fundamentals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And third is your average investor, some people like you and me who don't spend time on it
Mm.
so much. We have another job, but we
Mm.
just do this to augment our wealth or because we like it. So we're
Yeah.
building for people like us,
Mm.
and that does not, at this point in time, we're building solely for investors and not traders,
Got
right?
it.
So we, at least we don't see ourselves building out trading specific features. And
Mm.
also that's a very conscious choice to exclude those set of people, because that's where most of the scams occur, because
Sure.
you get 20% gains a day, right?
Yeah.
And that's where scams occur. You can't scam people who are investing money for the long run.
Yeah. No, no, but even an investment, for a
Mhm.
long-term investment, I think entry and exit is very important, right? Eh,
Yes, yes.
Like if the stock has run up too much, you
Yeah,
need to give an insight to me, for example, that
yeah, yeah.
the risk could be higher, the
Mhm.
stop loss is way lower if you get in right
Mhm.
now, or
Exactly.
if you're doing lump sum investment versus doing SIPE and stuff. And I think it will be helpful. And maybe
Percent.
just a suggestion. I don't know if there's a problem
Mhm.
statement here. If you can start to think about goal-based investing, right? Now, I want to save for retirement. I want to save for, let's
Mhm.
say, a trip in 2 years' time to maybe say New Zealand, for example, right? And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
chalk out a budget, and that pot you can't
Mhm.
even touch, for example.
Yeah. Okay, I'll elaborate on this a bit, right? So
Yeah.
coming to your first point, yeah, we all like Okay, I'm not sharing my screen again. So thing
Sure.
is, if you actually go to a stock page, right? If you go to on Clubfolio, if you go to Paytm's page, right, you can
Yeah.
obviously see all their revenue, EBITDA, and things like that. On
Yeah.
top of that, you also see who among the people have invested in Paytm, right?
Hmm.
And at what average price they bought in,
Yeah.
right? So what that helps is, so we don't want to solve it for the user like that. We just help their network solve it for them. For
Sure.
example, I saw a couple of my friends bought in at IPO, right? And they're at 80% loss. So now I talk to them, I get a perspective of what's happening.
Mm.
Right? So that's how we're sort of approaching that. Second, about goal-based investing, right? We will bring it in the next 3 months, but an interesting behavior that we've been observing this for the past 2 years, right?
Sure.
People don't prefer goal-based investing anymore,
Sure.
right? People above a certain age probably do because that's
Mhm.
how they were conditioned to do it,
Condition.
like saving up to do it. But right
Yeah.
now, what's happening is people get no cost EMIs and buy now pay later, right?
Correct.
So people, like, you can't beat that instant gratification of
Clarification.
doing it. Nobody wants to save for 12 months, right?
Correct.
Exactly. So, like, essentially, if we do goal-based investments and if
Hmm.
we, like, make that front and center and, get people to do that, you are sort of in a way competing against capitalism
Hmm.
and instant gratification, which I don't think is a battle anybody
Sure.
can win.
Sure. Great. Gopi, very curious how are you, building the team, what opportunities are like, opened up in your company currently? How do you manage to attract talent in this space?
Yeah. So, we're a super small team. Right? We just
Yeah.
7 people, and or
Hmm.
three of us are co-founders. So that is four
Yeah.
others other than the co-founders.
Yeah.
The way we've sort of approached hiring it is in hiring engineers as of now at least is easier for us
Yeah.
because we got friends who are engineers and they just choose to join us because they like us. Right. That's
Sure.
one. It's been difficult getting design people
Hmm.
because we don't have a designer other than my co-founder right now because the quality is really difficult to match, right?
Yeah.
So right now we have one designer, but
Hmm.
the overall philosophy, right, and this even applies to our friends who joined the company as well, is
Yeah.
that we just look for underrated people,
Hmm.
right? Um, because if they are, like if they're rated at the level which they should be,
Sure.
we probably won't be able to compensate them and pay
Sure.
them,
Sure.
right? So you have to actually figure out, who's not being rated correctly, right?
Hmm.
And we obviously tell it to them as well, saying that, hey, you're not rated being at your current place. This is what you should be getting, and we'll
Yeah.
not be able to match that pay, but
Sure.
we'll sort of compensate you that much with ESOPs, right?
Hmm.
So we tell that to them as well. So, and underrated and people who are like very very driven, right? So we don't see if they are like qualified or talented per se. We don't check that. We don't even know how to measure that. We just try to figure out if
Hmm.
they know the basics about what they're doing, like,
Oh,
and then two, if they can actually get shit done, like
nice.
ownership. Yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, again, there's nothing quantitative here. It's just that vibe check that we do. Like, basically the biggest test, the biggest interview that we have is three of us co-founders talking with that person for
Yeah.
like 45 minutes to an hour and seeing if the vibe matches. That's it.
Great, great. So, Gopi, I'm very curious to understand wealth management a little bit more in depth.
Mhm.
What's the opportunity that you sort of see here? What are the problem statements that you sort of foresee or in the time that you spent in this space?
Okay, the opportunity is massive, right? Because what is happening is until 2019,
Hmm.
there was no infrastructure to actually make an online investment, right? Grow came in 2018.
Yeah,
And Zerodha was probably around that time, but like you can't get people to Zerodha is insanely complicated to use. So
yeah,
that there was no infrastructure, right? So now what's happening is the like people are just like investment accounts, active investment accounts are
mm,
growing 3x every year, right?
sure.
And now we just had 18 million stock accounts open in the last 2 years,
Mm,
and the equity penetration in an Indian household is around 4% now, which it was 2.5% 4 years back. Now it's up to 4.5%.
yeah,
In the US, it's 70%, right? So we got a long way to go before we even sort of start thinking about stagnating. One obvious
sure.
limitation is like a lot of people talk about is per capita income and things like that.
Yeah,
But even if you just take the top 150 million customers, right,
yeah,
who are there's still a long way to go. We just have around
Mm.
20-30 million people investing in the country right now.
Yeah, true. Actually, when I think about it, it does sound like there's a lot of opportunity. But
Mhm.
what are the other problem statements that you sort of see for enabling this growth on your platform itself?
So what happens is, again, we I'm tying it a lot back to commerce, right? So what Grow and Zerodha and say even Upstocks have done is they've built great infrastructure, they've
Mm.
built great transactional platforms, right? So now transactions can happen, people sort of trust this ecosystem to happen, right?
Yeah,
But now what's happened to that is there's no discovery layer at all, right?
yeah,
People don't know where to invest. And so now what you see is now a bunch of companies trying to solve their discovery problems in different ways, right?
sure.
So now there is companies like IND Wealth
Mm.
who actually give you a paid plan and do algo
Mm.
recommendations.
Yeah,
There is Small Case who get research analysts to create
yeah,
baskets of stocks.
correct.
Yeah, and then we use social to actually help discover investments. And
Mm.
yeah, then there are companies which actually just round up your money into
Yeah,
just gold, right? Like
yeah,
jar. So they're like different approaches which
yeah,
we think fit different user personas, right? Like something like an IND Wealth might work very well for a person like you,
yeah.
who at later stage of your career, you actually have a lot of money to
Mm.
invest, which makes paying fees worthwhile.
Sure, I understand.
And while something like a jar might work for a young person, super
Yeah.
young person.
See, one problem statement I can think of that you might have to think about is
Mhm.
the problem statement around distribution. Have you thought about how you want to venture out
Yep.
into metros, tier one, tier two, or
Yeah.
target segment between, let's say, 21 to 40 or whatever the age group is, the user group that you want to target?
Yeah.
You have any plans around that?
Yeah, we do. So we started building Club Folio sometime in August last year, and we
Okay.
launched in March, right?
Mm.
So by the time we actually launched, we built a stable distribution channel. So if you check out our Instagram page,
Sure.
we have over 100K followers already.
Oh,
With
wow.
yeah,
Nice.
we haven't spent any money on advertisement. We just spend some money on production costs every year, every
Sure.
month. So we got a couple of people who were super great. They acted out for us. We write the scripts. Me and my co-founder write the scripts. They
Sure.
sort of act it out,
Mhm.
and yeah, we create interesting short videos and we put it out 2 to 3 times every week, right?
Sure.
And at any point in time, our last 10 videos would cumulatively have around 5 to 6 million views.
Sure.
So that's acting out. That's been a very stable source of acquisition.
Amazing.
Uh,
Yeah.
and going forward, I think there's an opportunity we haven't exploited yet.
Mhm.
Is that India is a big country. Like it's not
Sure.
fair to think of India as one country.
Correct.
You should think of India as multiple
Every state.
countries,
Yeah. Every state is
right?
different. Yeah.
Exactly. So we are putting content out only in English, right?
Mhm.
And that only addresses one very super specific segment of users.
Yeah.
Uh, After the next one, what we'll be actually doing is create content in multiple languages because
Sure.
we get a lot of incoming queries from users to create content in Tamil and Hindi.
Yeah.
So we think if we can get to 500K followers in English, we
Yeah.
can do that in every regional language.
Got it. Understood. Well done. I mean, I'm very excited to see how this journey pans out.
Thanks.
I'm super proud of what you've done so far. It's uh, amazing that you've like gone after something that you're really passionate about and building product, building a team, inspiring more people out there to invest. I think there's a lot that's coming together, and I
Yeah,
really, really wish you the success in this startup. You know,
thanks.
uh, Gopi, want to know you a little bit more personally,
Okay.
and be great to understand your philosophy uh, for life, your philosophy, uh, you know, in terms of how you want to attract talent, build this company out, what your vision is, uh, maybe, and also some interests beyond just building this app out. Who is Gopi?
So, I mean, I'll talk so, but like, essentially, my philosophy for life, and again, team and the company that we're building is the same, right? We just want to
Yeah,
work on exciting stuff, like things that we find exciting, right? Not
yeah,
exciting stuff generally. We wanted to build a great consumer product which looked
mm,
really good and people love. That's what we're trying to do. and we just want to work with interesting and driven people who get their
Sure.
things done every day, right?
Yeah.
And that's been my philosophy in life, and that's how we approach team building as well, right? Which is
Mm.
why we've been able to put out a again subjectively great product in like very less time with 3-4 engineers.
Nice.
So that's been actually our overarching philosophy. That's how we approach
Mhm.
life as well. All of three of us co-founders as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond that, I'm super into fitness and longevity, which is what I focus on in the free time that I get usually after work post 9 p.m. and
Nice.
mostly on the weekends. I'd be just reading stuff about biology, longevity, and
Nice.
figuring out how to actually increase my lifespan.
You're also a football fan, isn't it?
No,
No?
I mean I'm from Kerala, but
Mm.
unfortunately, no, I'm not a football
I
fan.
don't know why I felt like we've always discussed football.
Probably because I'm from Kerala, right?
No, no, not because of your schedule. Any, books, podcasts that you'd suggest anyone to sort of read, be it entrepreneurship, be it wealth advisory, be it product management? Any suggestions here?
Yeah. So there's this book called it's not a product management or a entrepreneurship book.
Hmm.
It's this book that basically two things, right? One is a documentary.
Hmm.
It's called it is about a failed startup called General Magic.
Okay.
You have seen it. So essentially, they were trying to build the smartphone in the 1990s, right? And they had the smartest people in the world working for it, and it obviously failed and shut it down,
Yeah.
right? So that's like a great documentary. You might have to pirate it because it's not available anywhere.
Got it.
uh, the book that I would recommend anyone to read, it's actually two books. One
Hmm.
is there's this book called Creative Selection. It's
Hmm.
by a person called Ken Kochienda. He was one of the software engineers working on the iPhone project, right? And he
Yeah.
designed the whole predictive keyboard system that we have. So
Mm.
that's a super great book on how to actually think through problems and approach engineering and design problems.
Sure.
And the final book is there's a book which just launched. It's called Build. It was by a person called Tony Fadell, who again launched iPhone and iPod.
Great. Great. Awesome. I'm going to look up some of these suggestions and also look at this documentary and these books too.
Yeah, they're really great.
Any startup that inspires you a lot globally,
Uh,
or any
Startup,
leader or founder?
uh, probably it would be FamPay.
Okay,
Like
nice. Mm-hmm.
they've got incredible traction.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they've raised a lot of money. So what I do like in weekends and things like that is I actually check out career pages of companies, figure
Mm-hmm.
out what they're trying to do next, see what they're
Yeah,
hiring for, things like that. So that's why we
yeah.
have spy people, right? And Fampy actually they got incredible traction in the great product,
Mm-hmm.
and they've raised a lot of money. But what I've noticed only for them is that they're not hiring very recklessly. They don't hire a lot of people.
Mm.
They could have, like I've seen companies who raise half their money, right, hire more than 2x the people,
Yeah,
right? So the Fappy is a product that I would respect a lot. I respect a lot.
great, awesome. Uh, I have no further questions. It's been a pleasure, Gopi, to reconnect, talk about your startup, talk about your journey. I only can wish you all the best. I know there's a lot to achieve. I'm sure you have your hands full. This is just the start of your journey and your career, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And there's many more peaks to sort of achieve. And
yeah.
I'm hoping, you reach out for any help that you need, not just to me, but anyone who watches this video will be able to help you out through this journey, because I know for a fact that entrepreneurship is not easy. And as much as there will be those down days, those little moments of spikes that you get in your journey, I think those are remarkable feelings that you'll ever have. So, wishing you, a lot more success in your startup, lot more success in your journey ahead. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Uttam. Thanks for having me on.